All right, so what if a doctor, someone who spent over half a century with people at the end of their lives, told you he knew the secret to a longer life? Well, that's exactly what we're going to dive into. We're looking at the life's work of this 102-year-old physician, and he pinpointed just five, common habits that he watched end lives way too early, again and again.
And he kicks things off with this statement. I mean, wow, it's incredibly powerful. He said, I watched 4,000 patients die. 4,000. And after all that, you know what he concluded? It wasn't genetics. It wasn't just bad luck. Nope. The primary cause? It was choices. He saw the exact same patterns of behavior, the same deadly habits, playing out over and over and over again for decades.
And yeah, this is the man himself, 102 years old. For him, this isn't just some abstract theory from a textbook. He's actually lived it. He didn't just study longevity, he is longevity. He's literally the living proof of his own advice, and that's what makes what he has to say so unbelievably powerful. Okay, so what were these patterns he saw? Let's get right into it. We'll start with the first category, the physical stuff. You know, the tangible habits he watched actively cut his patients' lives short. So the very first thing he learned, the most crucial observation he made was this: sitting will kill you. Plain and simple. He insists this is not an exaggeration at all. He started noticing back in the early 80s that his patients who sat all day long, think accountants, secretaries, they were aging on the inside, something like 40% faster than the folks who were always on the move.
And this is where it gets really interesting, when you see the side-by-side comparison. See, when you're active, everything's working right. Your blood is circulating, your lymphatic system, which is basically your body's garbage disposal, is functioning properly, and your muscles stay strong. But when you sit for hours on end, the opposite happens. Blood literally pulls in your legs, that garbage disposal system just stagnates, letting all these toxins build up, and your muscles, they actually start to waste away. And this quote, this just perfectly illustrates the danger. The doctor tells this story about a retired judge. This guy worked out religiously every single morning, probably thought he was totally in the clear, totally safe. But, and this is the key part, he spent the rest of his day just sitting. He died of a stroke at 71. And the point the doctor makes is absolutely crucial. That one workout in the morning will not undo an entire day of being still.
So what are you supposed to do about it? Well, his solution is surprisingly simple. This is the exact strategy the doctor himself has used since, get this, 1974. Every 50 minutes, a timer goes off, and he just gets up, he walks to another room, does some squats, whatever, just something with his legs. It's just a small, consistent interruption of that stillness. And guess what? He still does it today.
Okay, this second pattern. This one is a huge one in our culture today, right? It's this whole idea that you can get by on just 5 or 6 hours of sleep. The doctor saw so many patients, countless patients, say this almost like a badge of honor. But he called it exactly what it is, a delusion. A delusion that is costing you years of your cognitive health. And here's the thing, it's not just about how long you sleep. Turns out there are two different kinds of sleep debt. First, there's short sleep, anything less than 7 hours. That literally prevents your brain from finishing its nightly cleaning cycle, which means toxins start to build up. But he warns that broken sleep, where you wake up multiple times a night, can be even worse. Why? Because it stops you from ever getting into those deep, truly restorative stages of sleep.
All right, on to the third pattern. And this is one that really gets the doctor fired up. You can tell he's actually angry about it. Why? Because for something like 40 years, his own profession, the medical community, was pushing nutritional advice that he saw with his own eyes was harming an entire generation of older adults. And here's the crazy contrast. I mean, remember this? We were all told to go low-fat, eat tons of whole grains. But here's what they missed. As you get older, your metabolism fundamentally changes. Your ability to process carbohydrates just tanks. So that toast and orange juice breakfast that seems so healthy when you were 40, by the time you're 70, it's basically just inflammatory. So what's his advice? After you turn 60, you've got to focus on healthy fats, good protein, and vegetables. That's the fuel your body can actually use.
All right, so we've covered the physical stuff. Now let's move on to the next category he identified, what he calls the silent stressors. These are the habits that are way less visible, but believe me, they are just as damaging to your body.
And the fourth killer? Loneliness. He is absolutely insistent on this point. Loneliness is not some soft problem or just a feeling. It is a hard medical condition that has devastating physical consequences. He literally watched patients who were otherwise perfectly healthy deteriorate faster than patients with serious chronic illnesses, all because they were isolated.
And here's the science behind why it's so medically dangerous. Loneliness basically puts your body into a permanent state of chronic stress. It keeps that stress hormone cortisol just constantly elevated. And when that happens, it suppresses your immune system and just cranks up inflammation all throughout your body. It's literally accelerating the aging process at a cellular level.
Okay, the fifth and final killer is a little more subtle. It's sneaky. It's chronic worry. He points out that we often just write this off as a personality trait. Oh, that's just so-and-so, they're a worrier. But it's not. It's a physiological state. This constant low-level anxiety keeps your stress hormones simmering 24/7, and it slowly, quietly damages every single system in your body over the course of years and decades. Okay, so let's bring all of this together now, because in this final section, the doctor makes it deeply, deeply personal. He connects all these observations into one single, powerful, and honestly, unavoidable message. And this is, without a doubt, the most heartbreaking part of his story. He's talking about his own wife. His wife of 61 years. Now, she lived to be 94, which on the surface sounds great, right? But he says he watched her decline for 15 years before that, a slow, painful diminishment of her mobility and her mind that he is convinced was totally preventable. And this just lays out the two paths so clearly. You had his wife's path. She followed all those deadly patterns. She sat constantly, her sleep was poor, and she worried every single day. Then you have the doctor's path. He made the exact opposite choices. He moves every hour, he protects his sleep, he actively manages his worry. And the result? A 15-year decline for her while he's still active and independent at 102. It's just such a stark, powerful illustration of how much these daily choices really matter. But he doesn't just leave us there with this overwhelming list of things we're doing wrong. His final piece of advice is actually incredibly empowering. He says, look, don't try to fix everything at once. That's a recipe for failure. Just pick one, just one thing. Maybe you fix the sitting, or maybe you focus on sleep, or the food. Just start with one, and he promises the others will start to get easier. And so, this is where he leaves us. After burying 4,000 patients, his wife, and even 2 of his own children, he is still here. And so are you. His entire life's work, everything he observed, all the loss he's endured, it all boils down to this one, single, very direct question. A question for every single one of us.